You have a rock star inside of you, and I know the magic that it takes to get it out of you. All right, now there's a rock star inside of you who is you locked away a long time ago, and they are trying to send you little messages when you're in your car singing along to your favorite rock stars of all time, when you are watching those people perform or seeing some super mega star from yesteryear get up on stage and get through it, see your favorite band's lead singer get through it up on stage, and you hear a little voice that says, I can do that. There was a time when I could do that. Or sometimes you've been singing with yourself, and the little rock star inside of you has said to you, you're not that far from that. You can do this. You know what I mean? You can do that song. You can do this, no problem. And you say sometimes, oh, but I can't play good enough, or oh, my voice sucks. Always there is that negativity that comes in and bats away everything else. And that'll be outside voices too. You heard girls who could sing really well when you're a teenager tell you you can't sing, and that's crap, and stop singing. And we have all that stuff, and it shuts us up. It shuts us up forever. But the fact is that there is a magic that can bring it back out of you and bring back that glory that you dreamt of in youth as well. There is a certain satisfaction that you can get out of life when you learn how to sing like your favorite rock and roll singers, because we know that most of the time we don't sound that great. If we listen to a video of ourselves, we're like, Jesus, we don't really love it. But when you work on it, you watch the video and you make corrections, and you do it again, and you make corrections, and you do it again, you will do that until you start to realize, oh, this is what it takes to get me to be satisfied with my performance. And so you can do that, but if it were easy enough to make you into that invincible rock star, nailing it note for note, getting people to scream at you from the stage, getting people to lose their minds and say you're a rock star, say you're really good, that it takes extra special steps. And it does. It takes actually getting into an unconscious capability where you are ticking off a lot of boxes, like kind of every moment. But that's what training is. You go through things many times. You go through things such as performance, and you think about different aspects of it each time, so that you have your work cut out for you. You have a checklist of things to do while you're on stage in front of that microphone, whether it be just for music video, whether it be actually at your local bar, whether it be at your local club, or anything up from that. If you go through a mental checklist and you train, then it's just like an athlete. You get up there and it's muscle memory, and at the end you're just going to feel like $1,000,000. People are going to scream at you once you get it right, and they're going to tell you compliments that you never would have imagined that they would tell you. And you can still do it no matter where you are, in your 20s, your 30s, your 40s, your 50s, your 60s. You can still do it. Charles Bradley was 65 when they made the movie, and he was great in the movie. Waiting for Sugarman, I think, was even older. You've got people like Susan Boyle or Ernest Pineda, and they fill out the decade range there, so that we all know that you can sign up kids, but there's horrible karma with having kids portray romance, it turns out. However, you got the 20s, artists who come out in their 20s, which is great, because they represent that youth, that beautiful youth thing that's going on and what's current. And you know, your 20s is a time of getting totally screwed up on controlled substances. And so that is great for a music person, la 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 la. 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s. You know, I've seen Paul McCartney. You know, I saw Paul McCartney, and I actually have a Paul McCartney story. We met eyes. That's what happened. But in any case, he was brilliant when I saw him live. I can't believe how brilliant he was when I saw him live. And mid 80s, there was a teenage girl, 14, 15, 16 years old, crying at this 80-year-old man's performance. And do you know why that is? It's because he got up there and he was able to play and sing at the same time. The voice is the most important thing, and that's something I learned after I got here to Hollywood. And you know, for years I would try to sing, and I felt like I was singing like my favorite singers. It sounded like them, and in actuality, when I listened back to it, you know, it sucked. I hated it. You know, I hate stuff from 6 months ago. And still, there is a certain level of seasoning that you can give yourself where you do feel satisfaction after recording yourself. You know, nailing your favorite Rockstar song and really getting the textures, really getting the tone, really having your breath for it, and giving yourself that satisfaction. And one of the ways that you do it is you actually search for satisfaction while you're singing. You know, if you've ever seen singers get that kind of confused pain voice, many times it's because you are looking at a real professional who is singing and at the same time listening to their voice and making sure that their note is hitting satisfaction in such a way that it's expressing what they want to express. They want to make sure they're right on the note, and blending with the music well. And it looks like there are many faces of singing, and one of them is definitely that pain, that confusion, that looking, that reaching, and a lot of the time it is we are looking for that note, looking for that satisfaction. And for me, I would try to sing because I would tell myself, oh, I want to sing lead. I want to sing lead, you know, but I don't want to be the lead singer. And I never wanted to be the lead singer of the band when I was making bands when I first started, you know, when I was a kid, really. And I would always get other dudes to be in the band with me, and I would always convince them to sing. They would go from don't want to sing at all the way up to belting out twist and shout in LA, you know, in Hollywood bars where crowds are literally screaming at this person who was like, I'm not gonna sing. But I'm just like, oh, dude, you'll sing with me for a few months, it'll be gravy. And just getting them to go all the way from no, I don't sing, all the way to literally people screaming at their twist and shout, or screaming at them, you know, somebody who is a beginning singer going from beginning to that thing you do, doing that thing you do, you know, and having a crowd full of young ladies and an all-girls school rush to the front of the stage and start dancing like it was the 50s. You know, I've had wonderful things happen to me, even though I was like, you know, petrified to take lead. You know, really one of those people who had been upset by things that people have said in the past that kind of I was too sensitive to and that stuck with me. And also disappointed in my own performance, like watching myself perform. I've let myself down singing quite a lot when I was young, enough to keep me blocked for years and years before I started really believing that I had the kind of a voice where I don't have to fool myself into thinking that people will enjoy it throughout a song. And really that came from matching my voice up to my favorite heroes. A lot of my favorite heroes and a lot of the best heroes of all time also have a thing that they do, which we all know, which is try to make the song in such a way that they're the only people who can sing it. You know, we're talking about your Journey, we're talking about your Axel, we're talking about your Michael, your Prince, and we're talking about your Zeppelin. You know, we're talking about these guys who are doing parts that are hard for them to recreate. Certainly in later life, it's nearly impossible, it seems to them. If there's any of those, I would love to work with someone who thinks they're past their voice as well. They're, you can sing anything you want. You can literally sing anything you want. You know, I was thinking things were out of my range because I couldn't hit them when I first started, and if you work it enough, you can do it. And what I mean is, like, you got to sing along with your favorite singers of all time. I remember seeing a guy once perform, and he had a little voice on him. And when I say little, I mean he had a good voice. I said, what did you do to work on your voice? You know, and he was like, just singing in the car. Practice is practice is practice. That's how it goes. You know, 10,000 hours to be an expert. And if you want to skip the 10,000 hours and sing like an expert, then you need to figure out what is on the expert's checklist. And, you know, I will just tell you right now, the things that are on their checklist are your satisfaction at your point of tone focus is a very, very good one. You know, your checklist is your growl. You gotta let them hear the machinery. You know, you gotta make sure that your textures are all right. You gotta make sure that your phrasing is all right. You got to make sure that your breathing is really good. And then, you know, once all of those things are all running in the background, then you're able to operate at that level of mind where everything's running and going together. And then you're able to add on the extra rock star touches, which are going to be like movement. And they're going to be, you know, working the crowd, making sure you talk to them and get talked back to, get them to move, and really you're embodying that rebel rally spirit for everybody, and it's clothed in music, so that makes it like so much cooler, and that's what makes it go over real well, you know. And it's all doable, but of course you'd have to conquer all of the limiting self-beliefs and fear for you to just be able to get up and rock it. But it'll be everything that you've ever dreamed of, or it is usually, you know, and it was for me. I don't enjoy playing by myself. I play by myself now. You know, I've played a number of shows now at the Viper Room and here around LA by myself. I did it before as well, years back, when I was doing bands more regularly, and it's always much better with a band. It just is. You know, whenever you're performing by yourself, there's that whole thing that, you know, we all look at you like, right, so this is a vanity project for this person, for us to like look at the person and say you can do it. And that's fine, because that's enjoyable too. It's entertaining even to have that. However, people really want to see the bands. You know, that's kind of when you can show your rock star side a little bit more. As a singer-songwriter or as a solo act, you're just tied to your guitar, timing. You have to make all of the music, and so you aren't able to do anything that is extra entertaining to go along with the music, you know. And I'm not saying you just have to do show with that. You can do incredibly entertaining music, incredibly melodically satisfying, musically satisfying, and, you know, that is the rock star-esque or the rock star-ness of your performance. But really, it's expending ultimate energy up there, giving guys the hard release that they want out of the performance, and giving music that makes the girls' hearts wanna dance. If you can do that, then great. If you can show them songs of people who they really love, and you do it in a way that in their mind they will compare you to their greats, and if they've seen their greats perform those songs recently, they will say, you are as good as my favorite singer. Now, this is completely on a subconscious level, and they won't say those words out loud to you or to themselves, maybe. But when you do a Stones song and you sound great because you have been given the recording over and over and over and over. And I'll just put a little bookmark right here. And I know people say, oh, I want to sound like me, not like them. Don't worry. You can ask yourself, please, I want to sound just like them. I want to sound just like them. And no matter what you record is not going to sound just like them. If it does, that's great. We're going to put you on YouTube. You're going to go viral because this person sounds exactly like the other person. But if it doesn't, what it means is you sound just like them to yourself. And that's fine. You should go for sounding just as much like them as possible. Because the more you try to sound like the recording, the more the people will respect your performance. And that's because the part that they don't know, and that even you don't know, is that you have gone through that vocal performance, and you've ticked off so many boxes of, I'm going to do this with my tone focus, I'm going to do this with my phrasing, I'm going to match up their breathing on this, I'm going to match up how much volume, how much growl, how much shout, how much energy, how much intensity, over and over and over throughout all of the lines of the song. And then it's like, wow, people really love it because you've done so much extra work, rather than just, I can do it, and getting drunk and going, that's good enough. That's good enough at karaoke and things like that. So there's, basically you sing some songs from your favorite artist of all time, songs that you really like, and you go up through your checklist, and you make sure you do all of your things with tone focus, texture, with make sure you show your growl, your rock and roll, and then you're able to add on the extra qualities of movement, engagement, and giving that hard release, and something that makes the girls' hearts want to dance. Then you've got the makings of a great rock star jambalaya, if you will. And that's what people want. They want to come to get the gumbo. There's a line to get the gumbo. They want the gumbo. And so you do have to give them a great mix and a hearty pot of gumbo. I don't know where that analogy came from, but I'm definitely going with it because I mentioned so many things in the checklist that need to go into the pot, really. And that's what you need to do in order to release the rock star within you. It's get that voice out of you and get that performance out of you. And that comes from everything that I mentioned. And if you put those all into action, then bam, you're going to meet the rock star inside of you. And for me, the results were amazing. I mean, I use quite a lot of tricks, but I've had people whereas I'm like, oh, I'm not that good at singing, and I just listen to those voices from when I was young saying, stop singing and things like that, and to people saying, things that you wouldn't believe, or things that you could not even make up. They're so good, like being in front of Johnny Depp's cousin in front of the Viper Room, and this lady, like in a movie, saying, you have a really great voice, and really being like dramatic about it, like right in front of Johnny Depp's cousin, and him looking at me like, or people saying literally, you're a rock star, you can play anything. And I'm not talking about friends, I'm talking about strangers. You're the perfect front man, when I've always felt like I couldn't be the front man. I had a meeting with Jeff Goldblum's music manager, because Jeff Goldblum used to do a Monday night jazz night at a venue that I worked at here in Hollywood, where I saw so many music stars and celebrities that I can't even begin to name them all. But he was like, "Is the act just you?" and you know, I never wanted to be a solo performer, and I always fought against it because it's uncomfortable for me going up by myself. But the compliments are undeniable. They're there. He's the perfect frontman. He's the best singer ever. Things that you can't make up, you know, beyond your wildest dreams, and they give you such a satisfaction that you can't get from winning money or winning dates or this, that, and the other. It gives you another level of satisfaction, and it makes a rock star dream come true. But especially if you're at the Viper Room and you get that kind of stuff, and people, you know, screaming at you and clapping their hands off at you and letting you know you did really good at the end. And in the end, it's all worth it, going over the songs a bunch of times and living up to your heroes and things like that. So that's what's up. I am sharing the Rockstar sessions that I do to get ready for shows like at the Viper Room, and I am also crowdfunding my first records. I took some demos to a Rockstar's house, and he was like, "It's rad," and he gave me a list of instructions, and now I am completing the instructions. So, one of them is I'm opening up everything that I know, all of my magic secrets and training and one-on-ones to get you across that finish line so that you are hands down a bona fide rock star. You'll be able to play and sing anything, not talking about metal here, but anything but metal. You know, I mean, maybe the old, slower metal. You could definitely do it, you know, like Ozzy and those guys, but God rest his soul. And you can play and sing things that you did not believe you could before as well, like things like Rock and Roll by Led Zeppelin. You know, when I first started trying to get that song, I couldn't get it, but after I figured out how to get around it, I could, and I will show you that in an upcoming video, so stay tuned. Comment Rockstar if you want to find out more, and if you want to learn a little bit more or have a one-on-one with me. Thanks so much for listening to this. I'm new to this, so thank you for bearing with all of the little blips and things, okay? Thank you so much, and I hope to get in a Rockstar session with you. Thanks.